If you try to be irresistible, you won't be. That's the first thing you need to understand, because the people who leave the deepest impression aren't trying to impress anyone. They're not louder, they're not more entertaining, they're not constantly proving their value. They're removing something, and most people never realise what that is. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what you've been giving away, and once you stop, the people you choose won't be able to stop thinking about you. Not during the interaction, after it. That's when attraction actually forms, and once you feel it, you can't reverse it. If you're drawn to content that explains attraction and power without games, gimmicks or manipulation, you'll probably want to subscribe now. This channel doesn't repeat what everyone else says. Why does less create more? Most people believe attraction comes from adding things. More effort, more communication, more explanation, more availability. But attraction doesn't work on addition. It works on contrast. And contrast only exists when something is missing. The people who become irresistible aren't doing more. They're doing less, and allowing other people's minds to do the work for them. That's the first rule. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. People don't attach to what's obvious, they attach to what requires interpretation. And interpretation happens in silence, after the interaction is already over. What happens when you stop explaining yourself? When you explain yourself, you lower your value. Not because explanation is weak, but because it removes mystery. Every time you justify your decisions, or your feelings, or your boundaries, you're asking to be evaluated. You're handing the other person a measuring stick. And when you stop explaining, something uncomfortable happens for them. They don't fully understand anymore. And the human brain hates incomplete information. So it fills the gap. It replays the interaction. It wonders what you meant. It questions where it stands with you. And that's where attraction begins. Not in the moments later, but when you're no longer there. Most people talk themselves out of being interesting. They clarify everything. They resolve every tension. They close every open loop. And in doing that, they make themselves forgettable. When you stop explaining, it's not that you become cold. You become mentally present long after the conversation ends. Say less, leave space, and let them do the thinking. It's not manipulation, it's restraint. Controlling emotional access. Your reactions are access. Most people give them away instantly. They laugh immediately, they respond immediately, they reveal exactly how they feel. And that makes them predictable. Predictability feels safe, but it never creates desire. So slow your reactions, not to play games, but because you don't rush emotionally. People feel that. They become aware of your attention. And attention that isn't guaranteed becomes valuable. This is where most people get it wrong. They think attraction comes from showing interest. But interest that's always available loses its weight. When your reactions are measured, your attention feels earned. And when attention feels earned, people invest. They lean in, they try harder, they become more aware of themselves. Because now, they're not just interacting with you. They're responding to uncertainty. And uncertainty is far more powerful than reassurance. Become comfortable with silence. Because silence is pressure. That's why most people rush to fill it. They talk, explain, overshare. Not because they want to, but because silence makes them uncomfortable. When you're comfortable with silence, the dynamic flips. They start talking, they explain themselves, they reveal things they didn't intend to. And without realising it, they associate that calm with you. Silence does the work for you. You don't need to probe, you don't need to ask. You just let space exist. And whoever breaks that space is usually the one seeking approval. When you don't need approval, you become the anchor. And anchors are hard to forget. Saying no without explaining. Boundaries only work when they don't come with justification. The moment you over-explain a no, you weaken it. You turn into a negotiation. But when you say no calmly, without anger, guilt, or an apology, people feel the line and they respect it. Not because you demanded respect, but because you didn't negotiate your worth. This is where selectivity shows up. You don't say yes to everything. You don't make yourself endlessly available. And because of that, access to you feels valuable. Not rare in a forced way, but intentional. And intention is attractive. When you leave first, this is the part most people get wrong. They stay too long. They wait for clarity, validation, closure, and by doing that, they fade into the background. When you leave first, quietly and calmly, before you're needed, your absence creates contrast, and that's when attraction activates. Not in your presence, in your absence. Because your brain doesn't attach to what's there, it attaches to what it feels it's losing. When you leave first, people replay the interaction. They think about what he didn't say, what he didn't get, and that unresolved tension is what pulls them back. Not chasing, not effort, absence. Why this only works for the right people. It doesn't work on everyone, and it shouldn't. You don't become irresistible to the world. You become irresistible to the people you allow to get close. This is about choice. When you stop needing the outcome, stop explaining, stop chasing, the right people feel it immediately. Because you're no longer trying to be wanted, you're selective. And selectivity is the real source of power. If you're still here, hit subscribe. And remember, you don't become irresistible by adding something. You become irresistible by removing need. And the moment you do, the dynamic shifts. Quietly but permanently. Mind speak. See the unseen.